So I didn't really plan on making another video talking about OG Fortnite coming back because I don't want to feel like I'm milking the topic for this, and I also want to get started on making content for other games. To those of you who subscribed from my last video, yes, even though I make content on Fortnite, it is not the only game I make videos about. But somebody left a comment on my last video which brought up a very good point that I thought was enough to talk about in its own video. I'll have the whole comment up on screen here, but the main point that they were getting at is that holding on to the past is bad, while innovation is a better direction for the game. And I would absolutely agree with innovation being better for the game if Epic knew how to innovate the game in a good way still. As I mentioned in my last video, the evolution between chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4 was designed really well, in my opinion. I can't really speak so much on chapter 2 from experience because I didn't play a whole lot of chapter 2, but chapter 3 definitely, and chapter 4, even though it had its own issues, I still think it was a good time for Fortnite. Pretty much what I'm getting at is that all of these chapters were innovative in their own ways, but they were done in a really good way that Fortnite is known for. The game had character, it was easily recognizable, you know, the stuff you saw during these chapters were unlike anything that any other game had. But then we get to chapter 5, and to be honest, I don't think I've heard anyone say that they liked everything about chapter 5. And that's because even though the game was innovative in chapter 5, it doesn't mean it was innovative in a good way. You know, this is when the art style was completely thrown out for the sake of realism. We had those bullet drop weapons, which was a stark contrast to the hit scan weapons we had had for years. The weapon mods, in my opinion, made the weapons feel hollow instead of recognizable like all the other weapons we'd had previous. And don't even get me started on the metaverse and the fucking locker and UI changes. In a direct comparison of chapters 1 to 4 versus chapter 5, I would take any of chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4 over chapter 5. Because all these chapters felt like Fortnite. They had character, they had identity. You knew it was Fortnite. Chapter 5 tried to do too much to be different, try to add too much to the game, and it just took away from the core of what this game is known to be. I did mention in my previous video as well that I am not a person blinded by nostalgia. I'm just a person who wants to be able to get on this game at any point and play a version of the game that feels like the Fortnite that I've known for years. And now OG coming back as a permanent mode is giving us that option. Now, if Epic learn from their mistakes in chapter 5 and they make a chapter 6 that's actually good and feels like Fortnite, then having OG as a separate mode is just going to be an added bonus. I'll be the first to say that chapter 1 100% had its own issues. We had the spray meta in season 5, we had the zombies in season 6, we had the planes and the infinity blade in season 7, the mechs in season X. Like, looking back at chapter 1, there were definitely a lot of things that we used to complain about. But in all honesty, those kind of helped build the character of chapter 1, and I think that's what Fortnite is known best for, and that's building its own character. And this is exactly what I want to see from chapter 6, and I'm praying that they really cook something up and make the game feel like the game it's supposed to be. And let's say if they don't learn from their mistakes and they just continue on their path in chapter 6, then at the very least we have OG to go and play, which we know is gonna feel like the game we expect it to be. So yeah, I guess at the end of the day, people like me aren't obsessed with OG, we're just obsessed with wanting a version of Fortnite that feels like Fortnite. Personally, I think the best case scenario is that we have a really good chapter 6 and a really good OG side by side. I think it would be awesome having both the new and the old version of Fortnite side by side, assuming that the new version is a good new version. Because there's a fine line between good innovation and bad innovation, and I've seen both sides of it with this game.